What's going on, gentlemen? Short one today. Got a platoon get together here with some of my old platoon mates this afternoon, so just wanted to get this out before I go and hang out and get drunk with the homies downtown Savannah. So just a quick, trying out a little different setup. I'm using my front camera just because I want to be able to see myself, so that's why everything is backwards. Just wanted to talk about it's probably my favorite book, and it's probably one of the greatest American novels I won't say ever written, because there's some really good ones out there, but this one's a really solid book, and I've read it probably, man, I don't know, a couple dozen times, to be honest, over the course of like 8 years. Meridian, Cormac, McCarthy. Incredibly violent book, incredibly politically incorrect by today's standards book, but it's really a fantastic novel about the American West and about the brutality that it took to live out there and to thrive out, you know, in the West during like the middle of the 1800s. It's set in roughly, if you haven't read the book, it's set roughly around 1849, 1850. And it's loosely based on true events and true people and actual people that lived during that time, based on primarily the historical account of this guy named, I think it's Chambers. I might be getting that wrong. But it's loosely based on this account of this soldier who was a deserter during the Spanish-American War. And it is by far probably my favorite, like I said, my favorite book probably I've ever read. There's a lot of motifs and themes in there that you'll miss like your first couple times reading it, and that you'll kind of uncover and peel back the layers on as you do concurrent rereads of it. There's one fantastic companion book that goes along with it that translates some of the imagery and the motifs and themes, as well as there's a decent amount of Spanish in the book, and you kind of, if you don't know Spanish, like you kind of lose out on a significant amount of the subtext and a lot of the subtle actions and activities that happen inside the book that really contribute a lot to the plot. I know why Cormac McCarthy did it is to make it, you know, pretty realistic, because like it's set in the you know, in the viewpoint of Americans, so like encountering, you know, Hispanics and Mexicans out on the plains, like most of them didn't know Spanish. Some of them that picked it up did, but like he kind of leaves it to the reader to go and translate that, which totally get, like that's McCarthy's choice. There's I think the Coen brothers, maybe it wasn't the Coen brothers, but there was some test footage of a film attempt at Blood Meridian. I know that someone had bought the rights to the script, and they made like a 20-minute little test footage of, I think it's chapter 11. I should know off the top of my head considering the amount of times that I've read it, but it's the chapter where they meet the judge, chapter 10, yeah, where they meet Judge Holden for the first time, the gang, and it was pretty good footage. I don't know if it's out there. I've had difficulty trying to find it in recent years, so I think it might have been taken down. I would really like to see a gritty, true film adaptation of this book. Unlikely to happen because, like I mentioned before, it's incredibly politically incorrect. There's a lot of killing of Indians and a lot of other kind of taboo topics nowadays. So it'd be hard for a film studio to get funding, I feel like, to give it the film rendition that it deserves, because it's truly a phenomenal novel. Another option that might exist is to create an animated rendition or an animated retelling of the story. It would work because, you know, you wouldn't have to actually have live actors doing this. It would all be fantastical and animated. And the way that McCarthy writes, it's very, very biblical, very poetic, very much descriptive, using heavy description for landscapes and activity. Like, there's not a lot of dialogue, honestly, in the book. It's a lot of really dense paragraphs of just kind of describing what's going on. And I think that a talented animation studio would be able to really create that fantastic, like literally fantastical elements of this story. Like just some of the things that happen. Like there's one part where this bear carries off one of the members of the gang, and just the way that McCarthy writes it, it's like, man, it'd be really cool to see this animated and done up to be something that you couldn't really do without a whole lot of special effects. Just a thought that I have, you know, I might, because I have read it so much and I have a pretty intimate knowledge of like the imagery and the motifs, when maybe something I would want to do later on in life would be to develop like an animated screenplay, like, you know, break it down into something that could be turned into an animated miniseries or something on HBO. I don't know, just a thought that I've had and I've kind of been sitting on for a few months, because this story is it's really something. If you haven't read it, and I would recommend that if you haven't read Blood Meridian, that you go and check it out. I'm gonna probably do a couple more videos about Blood Meridian, just because it's an entire, like, I could go on and on for days off of just one chapter. So if that's something y'all would want to see, like kind of like a breakdown and analysis of certain characters or certain parts in the book, like I'd love to do that for y'all. I just don't know how many of y'all have actually read the book or care to read more or care to hear more about it, but it's a small passion of mine. Like just the story that McCarthy wrote is really something. But if that's something you like to see, like I would love to kind of tell more and to break things down for people that enjoy reading it, you know, maybe once or twice, and don't care to go back and read it again, and want to hear kind of the more esoteric and just really interesting themes that you can find throughout the book. So let me know, yeah, like I said, let me know if that's something that would be cool. That's all I got for today. Have a good one.